Welcome back to the channel. Now, we left you in the last video having finally started the WildAtlanticWay at Kinsale and then going for a great headland walk around Cork McSherry. Stu identified a potential park-up at a place called Dunworley Beach. If you like our videos, the best way that you can support us is by giving us a like and pressing that subscribe button now. In this video, we discover a hidden beach. Is fresh pasta better suited for van life? The story behind an award-winning product, and I take pictures in a toilet. Welcome to Getaway Geese. We are Stu and Jane, and with Harry, our Ford custom auto camper, we share our adventures. So join us in this our rough guide series to campervanning in Ireland. It's late in the day and it all looks pretty deserted. And the spot overlooks a commanding view over the sea. With the winds increasing, it feels like there's a storm coming in along with the tide. The white waves crashing in is a perfect backdrop for the pop-up Italian restaurant that Stu will create tonight. We're just listening to the news, which is fairly depressing, but
we've all got to make things last a bit longer. Your chicken's got to go for 2 meals, not one.
She's not joking either, look.
No.
Don't you think that we're getting more...
More veg, less meat?
No, we're getting more fine-tuned in our cooking of meals, yeah. Like we both know our jobs.
Yeah. It's easy. That's why it's easy, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So tonight we're having a fresh tagliatelle that we get from the Centra supermarket, but they couldn't do it elsewhere. They do a fresh tagliatelle, and this is good because it only takes 3 minutes.
And we used to bring dry pasta, and then we found pasta that but then we found a quick boil pasta that you only boil for 4 minutes, but
I'd rather have
it's okay.
The longer boil than
but then we got onto this fresh pasta, and actually the date stays forever, doesn't it?
Once it's opened, so that'll last 2 meals. There's 4 servings, so that'll be...
So it's not that bad.
We'll split it between 2 meals and that, basically.
And it's quite wild and cold outside, but we're cooking in here now, and I'm just taking my jumper off because it's heated the van up.
Okay, that's the pasta, 3 minutes.
Just hot, yeah. We've learned that we're doing all these meals for 2 when the bottle says 4. Our portions have been huge. I know, to think we were thinking of doing double.
Yeah, no, I can't believe we did double.
No, I don't think we could have done. It's definitely more than enough. Suddenly, after tea, there's a lull as the weather front passes. So Tom the drone is quickly sent up to scout around in the diminishing light. It's high tide and the sea presses right up against the cliff edge. But take note of this scene as a surprising transformation is about to occur. And the following morning, with brighter skies, a transformation has occurred. And it's as if we've been teleported to a different location overnight. With calm seas, the low tide has drawn back to reveal where you can see for yourself. The sun pushes through, but as usual we seem to take ages to get ourselves into gear. So this is what happens when you decide to have your lunch first.
We were going to go out on the beach because the sun was out, but in Ireland, as they say, you don't know when it's going to rain.
After through all this, there's a man just calmly walking into the sea. There's people walking into the sea in bikinis and swimming trunks, and we're just walking as if we're about to walk into the North Pole. And as fast as the rain came, it also disappeared. So we spend an hour exploring the beach. We love it when we can put the bed down in Harry and simply spend a few hours in the afternoon sun just watching. The tide returns once again to take back the beach for the night and reset for the following day. Well, it's time to move on today, but we have some chores that need to be done. And Harry gets a long-awaited wash to remove a layer of sea salt that has built up. It's just a temporary washdown in water on the top half only, but it makes him look half decent at least.
We met a local from Cardiff.
No, but she is a local.
She's a local.
Yeah, her husband's from here and they live here. They've just moved here.
They've got a little sort of holiday, well, was a wooden shack, now I think a tin shack that they come to. He's Irish.
Yeah, and when we got here, she walked over to me, and like your first instinct when someone walks over to you in the UK is, oh God, here we go, what have we done? And she was like, oh, hello, you on holiday? And I said, oh, I think we're only going to stop one night. And she said, oh no, like stop, and I hope you get to see the beach. So, I mean, that was...
Yeah. And we did the following day. And it was, as soon as we saw the beach go out, and he's like that perfect. It's almost newly laid every day. Every time the tide goes out, it's just lovely sand. And I actually went swimming, and I felt quite proud of myself because there was a bloke there, and he said if he can get to October and keep swimming in this water, he's doing well. So I thought, you know, I just can't believe people do it. But the beach itself, you know, was, we saw it at night, we saw it with the tide in, we saw it with the tide out. But when you go into the caves go way back, don't they? Yeah. It's incredible. How far? Oh God, now I'm stuck. We'll get Stu down there. Yeah, you'd have hated the one I just went down. You'd have hated it. It just went on forever. Wow, they go on a long time, don't they? Wow, it's going on down here. Wow, look how red that is, Stu. Look how red that rock is. And they've had to put I say some stone and cement up to try and stop the reinforcement, stop the erosion and that by the looks of it. But the rock formation across this whole coastline is just, you can see it was obviously, when this part of the land was formed millions of years ago, it must have been a real dramatic thing going on. And they seem to embrace camper vans. Like
she said there was 6, because we said we don't want to impose on anybody, and she said, oh no, there were 6 here at the weekend, and they just seem to view them differently, don't they? I mean, you did some litter picking, but generally it was really
quite clean actually. The beach was more because it's got things washing up all the time. I guess there was bits and pieces. It wasn't massive, but
it's a bit crazy because there's nowhere to put your rubbish, and yet it's immaculately clean.
There's no bins here. There's a property behind us that's it's actually been agreed to sell by the looks of it, but it was a pub apparently, according to that. The old owner used to live in the pub, then they lived next door to the pub. I think they then died, and it's so it's just the sales just going ahead apparently. So.
They've just changed the rules, haven't they? It's been empty for 20 years, and there's just a new rule coming to Ireland that you don't need to go through the usual
permissions and all that
planning permissions or regulations to change a pub into a private dwelling. So all these old pubs are coming on the market that probably stood empty for decades. So.
Okay, so we're going to go to Clonakilty today. So I'm trying to convince Jane that there's a black pudding museum in
which, funnily enough, doesn't appeal to me.
It doesn't appeal to her for some reason, but it appeals to me, and I don't know why.
Because you love black pudding.
I like black
pudding,
but it's more the quirkiness of it. There's a West Cork model railway village as well. That's not getting there either.
He's not selling it to you. I like the history, so I'll go to the history.
Yeah.
With brilliant blue skies out today, it looks like we are once again lucky with this autumn weather. So the lady we met yesterday told us not to go back via the main road, but to go back, what would you call it, Stuart?
Via the coastal route.
Via the coastal route,
which the coast.
Yeah, so
it's very scenic.
And there's nothing that we like better than cruising around in Harry, simply taking in the landscape. We finally arrive at Clonakilty, and first it's a shopping trip where I get to try out a new Aldi in the town. Always worth checking out the bargains. Restocking up on chicken, which is our main protein source. Stu drops me off in town, and I wave him goodbye, and off I go to explore around. I discover that the town is a patchwork of colour with bright coloured buildings.
The factory is on the west side of the town, and with Harry safely parked in their car park, I enter the visitor centre. The tour costs just €10, which includes an audio tour handset for the museum, which was simple to use and informative. I didn't realise black pudding was so spread across the world. I had to check out Nicaragua, of course.
Meanwhile, somehow I seem to have stumbled across the old red light district. And I loved watching this wall getting transformed. There is also the Clonakilty Distillery, which does tours if you're interested, and has the really impressive glass building where you can see the big copper stills.
I carry on learning the history of the product and the business and how it interacts with the local community.
He decided to visit Cork, as he had heard they had excellent white meats there.
With holograms and interactive displays discovering the ingredients, it makes the visit very interesting. The Clonakilty black pudding history starts in the 1800s in Philip Harrington's butcher's shop, where the pudding was made by a Joanna O'Brien, a farmer's wife who made it to sell in the butcher's shop. When she retired, Philip Harrington carried on making it. The recipe includes a secret spice mix that was passed down in the family. as well as being passed outside when the business was sold to a Patrick McSweeney.
Is this your first time being in Clonakilty?
In 1976, the butcher shop, which included the black pudding recipe, was bought by his nephew Edward Twomey, where it has stayed in the family. Interestingly, Edward had no interest in the black pudding until his customers demanded he carry on making it.
Would you see, when he bought the shop, it came with a recipe. A secret recipe for black pudding, and that recipe was something else.
The business has grown under the current owner Colette Twomey and now has production partners in Australia, and I understand they're looking to expand into America. Colette has the sole details of the secret recipe apparently.
The main street is a picture of colour. DeBarras is quite a famous bar, and I was really sad that it wasn't open. Noel Redding lived in Clonakilty, and he was the bass player for Jimi Hendrix, and he would quite often be seen singing in the pub. And it's absolutely full of memorabilia. Unfortunately, he died in 2003, aged 57.
So you end the tour by accessing the viewing platform over the small factory, but you can't film there unfortunately. So with the tour you get a tasting. It's almost like a breakfast, so I'm having tea as well. Fantastic. What a bargain for €10, and I tasted the black pudding, the white pudding, as well as the new veggie pudding, which was actually my favourite. It tastes completely different in my opinion to UK puddings, with the grains and spices making it unique. So I would highly recommend this tour, if nothing else just for the tasting at the end. I meet Jane back in the main street outside the famous Edward Twomey butcher shop, and we buy some puddings that I hope to persuade Jane to try sometime.
We eventually go into the pub, and Stu has a zero lager and I have a red wine, and we share the stories of the day. The bar had an interesting back room for events with a unique sky window. Now, I don't normally film in toilets, but I couldn't resist the unique look of these basins. We have fallen in love with this place. It's beautiful. Stu said to me when we were coming here that you won't have phone signal. I've had, mostly the time I've been here, I've had 5G, which I don't even get in the UK.
Yeah.
Normally, the only time I get 5G is when I'm in Birmingham, right in the centre of Birmingham, Manchester or Liverpool or London.
And I've got a 3 network in the UK, which has been pretty poor, I believe. I've come here and I bought a local 3 SIM, and I've had better, again, better reception out in the wilds than I would do in the UK.
We visit this garage as apparently you can top up water for free. But be aware it's not food grade pipes or drinking water, so today we decide not to use it. Stu treats me to another retail experience at the Dunn store, which happens to be opposite the Black Pudding Factory. It's September 29th. And we're looking at Christmas things. Look at that. It's completely Christmas. Oh, hello. Here's Dr. Doom going to drag me to the food. No. Always go for those. Yeah, they look good. So please join us in the next video where we find a park-up for the night that turns into 2 nights. And then we have an unexpected turn of events. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video then help us grow the channel by subscribing, liking and commenting. And we'll hopefully see you in the next episode of Our Travels in Harry.